Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Stories Around Azeroth. As always, I am Pete Titan Screen Nevercoat, and joined by the one, the only, the amazing Frazley-tastic. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing awesome. How about you?
I can tell you're doing awesome. You're wearing a lovely shirt which says Bree Awesome on it.
Yeah, I figured, hey, can't be cheesy.
You do have to be cheesy. It's the only way you can stay in this pun game, really, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, but the you said earlier that I'm a bad gnome. Or were you just goading me?
Yep. No, I was just literally goating you. It's all I have to do. We are here to talk about 8.3 today, guys. It's been the biggest news. We may as well talk about it, just like every other person that plays World of Warcraft. We may as well talk about it. There have been ups and there have been downs. What's your general feeling on the patch so far, Mr. Frazley?
I love the storyline. I enjoyed the opening quest of it. I like that we're getting this creepy Lovecraftian feel. I think it's fun to kind of like we're going into the unknown, and don't make me sing the Frozen 2 into the unknown, but we're going into a new avenue of stuff, and I love that we're seeing the old gods, and as Ian was talking about in his Millennium article, we're seeing some stuff that we did not see before. It's like a new play. The Legion just came in and attacked us, whereas here we're getting things that are kind of playing with your mind, making you go through things, and even in the opening cinematic that I won't spoil the opening cinematic unless you want to, but the opening cinematic of 8.3 was epic. I mean, I love that. Taryn and the team, you are doing an awesome job.
Yeah, it's really, really super good. Now, I mean, it's obviously going to be hard, but it'd be nice to see like the actual proper model cinematics get that good as well, you know? But obviously there's a bit of difference to do because they want to have the player character to make it in those rigs as well. So.
Oh, it is so cute in different scenes. I'm in the Yeti hoodie, and it's so cute seeing what they like in the Yeti hoodie. Like my feet go flop, 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 and it's just it's adorable.
Brilliant stuff.
During a Rathian cinematic, I was streaming it, and I said, "Hey, did you see how cute it was?" And someone was like, "I was seeing how Rathian was being a badass." And I was like, "Yeah, but you didn't see me like go floppy, floppy."
You didn't see me plod around. Ploddy,
yes.
Jesus Christ. There's been a lot to do this week. There's so much to do. You've got 2 new allied race quests. The Heart of Azeroth's open all the way up to 80. You've got the new main storyline to do, which opens all the content. How long did it take you to do the new storyline, Mr. Frazley?
Given that I was also streaming, so I mean, I took a bit of time for like joking with the stream. It took me about 3 or 4 hours, and I did not do my first vision till the next night. So it took me a good bit, and I don't want to be that person who's like saying give us less content on alts. That's where I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to doing the opening scenario of 8.3 on alts.
It really depends on the gearing of the alt. That's what I'm going to say about that, and we'll get more into that later on as we talk about bits and pieces. Have you enjoyed it? That's the main question I want to ask you.
Oh, 100%. And I love the things that they're going through. I love the storyline. I had a blast. It was fun going to different things. I loved going to the Vale. So, yes, to me, the content, there was plenty to do compared to 8.2, which I had a killer storyline, but very short quest. I like that this was a long quest on the main.
It's really weird how it's felt, because 8.2 felt time-gated to the extreme, whereas this has just dumped everything on you, and the only thing that feels time-gated is the cloak, essentially.
Yeah, and that one, I can see from the perspective of a raider, you almost feel behind. I know a few raiders who feel like they have not gotten rank 5 yet, that they feel behind, and because to get your cloak up, you have to get the visions, and to get the vision, you have to do the dailies, so it's not time-gated. It's more how much time can you do.
It's time protected rather than time gated, I would say, for the cloak, because they've obviously there's a lot you can do on the first week, because the main story gives you more access to heroic visions in the first week, and then everything else is literally gated to like 1 upgrade per week, which is fair enough. A lot of people are misunderstanding that the fact that if you have the extra ability to run more, you can do. It's just that you can only upgrade your cloak once in those weeks, and you're not limited in the amount of times that you can run horrific visions in a given week. The only thing that limits you there is your ability to get your visions.
I upgraded twice in one night, but could that be because I did the intro vision quest and then I did a real vision?
So is for the most part, you can get to rank 6 off your cloak. Now, there's one horrific vision that you go in where you won't get an upgrade to your cloak at all, which is basically story based, and it's to get you your first unlock in your research tree, and then you can then you go in another 5 times over the course of that first week to get to rank 6, which is where it's capped for this week.
And don't be like me and have a stone in your bag, and after your second vision, be like, I've got this stone sitting there.
Oh no!
Someone's like, yes.
Oh god!
I was like, what do I do with this?
You sped through your quest text, didn't you? Didn't read about the items.
I tried to. I mean, there's so much text, but you have people yelling, you like, let's go. Like, okay.
Yeah, no, you just need to tell people to slow down. Yeah, no, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think I've enjoyed it more than others for a couple of reasons.
Well, and I'm getting a big like Stargate, Star Trek feel. Like even when you go into the area for Rathian to go in there, you feel like you're in the holodeck. Someone even said like Stargate. I mean, I like that.
It feels. At least the N'Zoth stuff feels very sci-fi.
Yeah.
And the Uldum stuff feels like I'm not going to say Uldum because it will change next week. It will change over. The other, like anything with the N'Zoth stuff feels very sci-fi, whereas the other stuff feels very fantasy. So it's one of those things that's very interesting in the way it feels. A lot of my guildies today have reported that it feels like people's damage is reduced in the N'Zoth Assault rather than the other places. So
I can see that, especially because you're in someone's vision. Maybe they want you to feel powerless because
it's not in the vision. It's in the assault itself, like in the Veil. A lot of people are saying like it feels like their damage is reduced, but there's no debuffs or so. I think it's because everything in the main assault feels more tanky. I think there's more health on everything.
Okay, I don't pay attention to my DPS other than just like when things fall down dead, so I can't say yes or no on that.
But yeah, I mean, the assaults are pretty cool. It was nice to go back to the Veil and everything else, and it's nice to see the Veil repaired and everything else. It's just interesting to see how it looks because it's not Shard blighted anymore, but it's still got loads of tentacles. Now, obviously, we'll see how that'll be when it comes to next reset, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on where you are, and we'll see how that actually feels like when N'Zoth is in Uldum rather than the Veil, and how the Veil feels when it's under a normal like Mogu or other assault. Like,
okay, then I'm confused because Uldum and Veil were up this week. Was that because it was
right.
The first week?
So the way the assaults work is there's one major assault, which is wherever the N'Zoth assault is, and then there's minor assaults which happen in the opposite zone. Now, the minor assaults refresh every 3.5 days to the other area. So, for example, over in Uldum, the first one that started was I can't remember the right name for it, but it was the Ramkahen type stuff. And then it switched to Akir on Saturday night for us, and I think it was like early Saturday for you. So you've had the ability to get 2 lesser caches, and then you get 1 big one. Now, when weekly reset rolls around, N'Zoth should be in Uldum, and then we'll have a minor assault that will be in the Veil, and then that will swap over on Saturday night as well.
Okay, because I was confused on that. I was thinking like he's in both places, but he's focused on one area, but his presence is still kind of there.
His presence is felt in all the areas essentially, but I imagine it'll work exactly the same way. Like, we'll have a main quest that will take us through whichever assault. So, like, if Mogu is the main is the sub assault that's up first, there'll be a quest from the Rajani to go specifically for that. And then I think the other one's a manted one in the Vale. It'll be like completely manted focused. So it'll be something like that will go, and we'll get a quest line to that, just like we did for the Akir and the other one this week as well. So
that would explain why Odin was current lighting, and then we'll get Ny'alotha purple lighting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and then but then we'll see the Veil the same way. And I have to say, there's a lot of purple. So if you love purple, this is the expansion for you.
Well, do you know what? I'd prefer a dull purple compared to like bright green when it comes down to it at the end of the day, you know? Like,
yeah.
The green is legitimately horrible when you see too much of it, and it's not as if the purple's going to be too bad, and I think the purple will only get like really bad when we actually go to Ny'alotha and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like one of the big things that you've done this week is you were working on your mecha. No, obviously the gnomes are the big thing for you, aren't they? So you've been working on like your Mecha Gnome unlock quest. How did you find that?
I thought it was really cool, and I did not do Desire lore, but I knew what was going on with Mechatork. And
right. Yep.
What was cool is he factored in a lot into this, and I liked the storyline because it took you through like Operation Mechagon, and I got to finish that on Heroic, and I like that we got some storyline, and it was really a nice story about unification and two groups that were kind of at odds coming together again, and I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, it ends very well. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Volpera allied race one, solely for the reason that I think the story is told a lot better. So the main crux of the Mecha Gnome one, without spoiling it too much, is saving Mechatork because it feels like he's dying in his escape pod after the events of Desire Lore. And the fact he's been in that escape pod throughout a whole other raid patch over in the Crucible of Storms and the Eternal Palace. And so they're taken to the Mecha Gnomes, and then the Mecha Gnomes work out a way to get him out of there, and then you go and clear up what's left in the in Mechagon and clear it of the rest of King Mechagon's influence. And then it's all about working with each other and reuniting all the gnomes all together. And it's really good. Whereas the Volpera, it feels like, because they're initially shunned for the fact that they feel like they don't have space within the Horde for the Volpera feel like they've got to earn their worth, and they go around and help on lots of things. And it literally feels like you earn your way into the Horde.
Okay. Which then brings, because right now the Horde, we don't know. The Horde has to kind of figure out its image. After losing its war chief.
That's the thing. Like it's working out where they fit, and they go around and they help everybody, and they do various bits and pieces, and you know they help out in the Twilight Highlands, they help out in Suramar, and they help out. Where else do they help out? Blimey, I'm trying to remember. My goodness.
Twilight Highlands?
Yep. So you go and help the orcs out in Twilight Highlands. You help.
Got it.
You help the Nightborn in Suramar, and you help the trolls in Zuldazar. It's really cool. It's a very cool quest line, and if you do hit Exalted on the Volpera on your Horde character, I do suggest you go and get it. It feels like the Horde have the advantage with how to unlock the Mecha Gnomes, because you can unlock the Mecha Gnomes due to the reputation, and if you finish the main story, which you can do on both Horde and Alliance, because Mechagon's available to all. So just like I've got a Horde character there to unlock allied races, Horde just need to have an allied at max race to do like the main story. So
yeah, it was like the Nightborn. I have the Nightborn unlocked.
Yeah.
By doing it on the Alliance.
Yeah, it's very much like that, which is good.
Yeah.
If you play more one faction than the other, it's very useful. But I haven't pre-ordered Shadowlands yet, so I wanted to make a Volpira Death Knight. So I've got to wait. Do you know? And you'll probably appreciate the name I've gone for this one. Do you know the name I've gone with it?
No.
Foxmorn. Oh, look, I've done a pun so bad. He's face palmed.
I am face bombing.
Yes.
I am literally face bombing. Oh.
That's a victory in my book.
I thought my Mechanome Death Knight, calling it Frazley. I mean, that's Capo's idea, Frazley. I thought that was cool.
You've made a Mechanome Mage though, and I like the name. What have you called it?
My Mechanome Mage is called Frazzlecast.
Yeah. That was cool. I like that. I like that name when you showed it. It was pretty dope.
That was Capo's idea because someone had always thought because I called it Frazzlecast that I was a gnome mage, and I said, nope, I'm a gnome warrior. So it is weird. Like I'm gonna surpass. No, I've already surpassed the episode numbers on Frazzlecast before even the mage gets to 120. I mean, it's so the podcast is older than my current character. But yeah, no. Foxmore. I think unless somebody outfoxes you, that I think wins.
Yeah, no, it's good. I really want to make a Volpira Shaman as well at some point though, because they've got the best totems in the world.
Then I got to tell you my Mechanome name that I did because I went into Mechanome character customization. I was kind of secret with the Fabricast one because I didn't want somebody to know what name I was gonna. I was trying to create it on stream, but not have somebody create a character in that 1 second. It was one of those I kept thinking someone's gonna be watching my stream and take my name while I'm making the thing. But then I go back in to show the Mechanome customizations. I happened to get one that looks like, as Kepo said, Joey Ryan, so I called it Nomi Ryan.
Oh, that's pretty funny. We in the guild this week we came up with a new name for Shaman because we always joke because one of my closest friends that I've known through Warcraft plays Restoration Shaman, and we always joke that Chain Heal with the watery effect just looks like he's just peeing on you. So so we basically came up with the Shaman are just toilet wizards.
Oh, that's a very crappy pun.
Well, it's not so much that, because we've always called Earth Shield Poo Shield as well, because it just looks so bad, like the texture of it just flying around you. So they're just toilet wizards now, and it's just been a running gag this week. It's been pretty funny.
Oh.
Like,
I like your number one joke better than your number two joke.
Number two joke, yeah. Thank you, Fraz. Yeah, I get you. Oh my goodness. So, other than
that's potty humor.
So good. So you've done the Mechanome questline.
Yes.
You've obviously started leveling that because are you gonna wear the heritage armor?
Absolutely. I agree with somebody that because of how the Mechanomes don't have as many armors, their heritage armor I think looks some of the best on them. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. And you said you finished the main quest line.
Yes.
How did you find it?
I liked main quest line for Ny'alotha, right?
Yes.
The main patch, I thought it was nice. I liked going to Mother. I liked finding Wrathion. I mean, because everyone knows Wrathion's their mother, and I like that part. I still can see how either Wrathion has a plan. I mean, we talked back about how we don't know if Magni's a pawn, and I can still see areas where he could be. So I want to see more where stuff goes in pre-patch and heading into that expansion.
Makes sense. It's going to be interesting to see what comes along. But you enjoyed it. You've got your legendary cloak. How many runs did you say you've done? About 3 runs in Horrific Visions?
Yes, 3 runs, and I've the second one we were heading toward a boss, but our sanity was going down, so we hightailed it back over to Thrall and took it down. And I was reading up that someone said focus on Thrall every time you can, and as you're leveling up, then go and try the other wings of the.
So you haven't tried any of the side wings this week, then?
We tried one. We were heading down the drag, but our sanity was just really running through, and we were on our third sanity re up on our character, so we had to head back.
Just headed back. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because someone said you don't get anything if you lose on a side boss and do not kill the main boss. You get more if you take down the side boss and the main boss.
So the way they work is you can get a loot box from every boss you kill, even if you lose and don't get thrall down. And so, like, if you killed one side boss in a wing, but you don't get thrall down, you'll still get a box for the boss you've beaten. You just won't get the box from thrall, which can be dependent, because to get rank 6, you need to clear a side wing.
Okay.
But you don't need to have beaten thrall as long as you clear that side wing.
So that's going to differ to what I was, because one was saying that you only get the click upgrades from thrall, or
the quest changes as you go through it. So from ranks 1 to 5, you need to beat thrall.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. For rank 6 of the cloak, which you can get this week, you need to at least beat one wing. And I say this because I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. How have you found doing Horrific Visions as a group?
I thought it was good, and I can see how you're using up. If you don't have all the upgrades, it can be a challenge, because like you kind of have to in the beginning have a focus when you're on your upgrades. Like left wing is of upgrades is solo, right wing is group. But I can see how it can be helpful, but it can also increase your stuff. And I do know I get the feeling that like you want to make sure that you're with a group that I don't foresee pugging these, because once you use up this vision, you got to get all 10,000 coalescing visions again.
That's the thing. I want to ask you this question as well, because there's a lot of divided opinion on it right now. Now, a lot of people are slightly annoyed because they didn't realize that every person in the group needed to have the vial to get in.
Yeah, which is different than the Mythic Plus system.
Yes, but this isn't meant to be Mythic Plus. This is meant to be something completely different. Like,
okay,
would you? Because obviously it's there to stop people grinding that don't have keys. You know, because if you and I ran it, and I'm not going to get another key for a couple of days, because I need more coalescing visions, and I just need to do my dailies to get enough to go through again. I probably won't have enough this reset, I imagine, without doing some serious grinding somewhere, and I don't want to do that. It's too much effort.
Yeah,
but it's there to stop people who don't have a key to go in and get the mementos to upgrade their research, and then come back in on week 2 for the people who want to know life it and go straight in and basically have a max thing because they've got all the mementos. So I mean that's the reason. I think that's the reason to stop why everybody needs a key and everybody's accountable.
I would say if you could not go in by yourself, it would be a pretty crappy move. But the fact that you can go in by yourself, it's not like it's not like if you don't have it, you're holding yourself back. Because I don't have to wait to group up with people that I know to do it. I can go in at any time.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, but I mean, when I'm doing it on my main, I've got my Demon Hunter is obviously my main character at the moment. It's got 446 gear at the moment and everything else. I haven't got any problems with doing any of the horrific visions or anything like that. So, like, I streamed a little bit this week, doing all the content, and then I did a stream where I felt like I could take on 2 wings at a rank 4 cloak. So I streamed it because there are a lot of people in my guild who didn't understand like some of the mechanics or anything else. So I made sure I was fed. I had my flask on. I had like all my buffs. I made sure I went in with potions and everything else. And I went in and I soloed 2 wings. Now, I want to state for the record that I feel solo when you're grouping. I feel like the mobs have almost too much health because I went in on this week I've geared up 2 characters to get into horrifics. I've geared up my main Death Knight, my main Demon Hunter, and then because I got more plate BOA gear from doing the week's events, I decided to gear up my Death Knight, who started at about 380 at Heart of Azeroth level 35. So everything in 8.3 feels like it hit like a truck. But I've geared it up, and I've only done like multiplayer, like Horrific Visions. But compared to like one that I went in and did solo on my Death Knight and just did Thrall, it felt so much easier just going in solo and clearing the Horrific Vision on its own, because it feels like the health is just massively reduced in its state, and it's just like the more you obviously clear, the more mementos you get. So I just made sure I cleared everything in that first room, used the orbs wisely to keep my sanity up to do it, and then went in and just hit Thrall.
How geared was your character?
What, the Death Knight or the Demon Hunter?
The one where you felt like it was easier to go through.
Oh, so my Demon Hunter, who I've only done solo play with, is about 446.
Okay.
My Death Knight, who I've done multiplayer stuff with, and has done one solo, just to see how I could feel the difference between the two. With gear, with the BOA gear and the questline gear, is 410.
I wonder if there is a scaling cap in a way where at a point it doesn't scale, like it doesn't just keep going up.
So you think rather than being scaled on players, it's scaled on the average item level? That feels like it would make sense, because the person I did it with was a 440-ish Shadow Priest who was having problems doing the vision on his own because of the way that some of the boss mechanics work. So yeah. I would be mildly interested to see if that's the way it works, because it, like, just clearing Thrall felt easy.
Because I've had friends who have gone into BFA solo on different things, and like one has solo Dazarlor. At a point, their tune is so overleveled that everything goes down. And I've noticed like my Horde Hunter, I got a lot more issues on certain things, but Fraz, I can pretty much take down a lot of things with. And I'm wondering if there is that cap, and maybe that's where in Visions you're seeing that, and then party adds some complexity. But if you're already at a place, the party.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, this is, essentially, it's going to get to a point where the gear is going to be a thing based on how they do the gear drops for Horrific Visions, which Blizzard have clarified in a post since the run that I've done, and since the beginning of the patch. So everybody thought that from the beginning, Horrific Visions were going to always drop a piece of 420 loot, regardless of which vision you've done. To which point they've now clarified it that if you do your first run of the week at 420, like if you clear just Thrall, then you'll get a 420. If you clear Thrall and 2 wings, you'll get a 430. If you clear the entire place, you'll get a 435. No, 425 for 2 wings. It is 430 for 2 wings. 430 for 2 wings, but then if you do a full clear, you'll get 435. And then if you do a full clear with 1 mask, which you unlock by doing a full clear of all 5 wings, plus the main boss, then you get 440, I want to say. I mean, it just scales up for every 5 item levels, depending on what you want to do. So I can totally see... And it doesn't make sense for them not to drop gear, because if it always dropped a bit of gear, I wouldn't feel... Like, I was just like, I don't understand why it would be so expensive to get in, because it's only 420 item level, which is 10 item levels above what you could get from BOA gear, and it's 5 item levels higher than the Azerite pieces anyway. So it's not adding that much to the scaling levels of the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know? And for like, if I could keep going through, and I would always get a piece of 420 gear because I was consistently able to beat Thrall, but I didn't think my item level was able to go any further, then, you know, at least by getting that 420, I'm doing content that I feel I can do as a solo player on my alt character, and I feel like I've earned it because it's solo gameplay, and I feel like that would be a semi-decent thing. But again, it requires the cost to not be so expensive. And I think they'll drop this like down the line, like maybe in a couple of months or so. So they'll drop the cost down to like 5,000. So like you get an entrance ticket for every time you clear an assault, which I think is a lot easier. I think that's a lot, because it essentially would give you definitely minimum of 3 a week if you just chose to do the assaults, 4 if you decide to do the daily minor vision every day, because you get 1,000 and 2,000 for your first clear. So essentially you could do 5 runs a week at a 5,000 cost. And I feel like Blizzard have looked at it and gone, they can do 5 runs a week if we make it cost 5,000. But on average, they're only ever going to get 2 bits of gear from this.
And you have to go also. I know they've done the cost. You have to. You don't want your players killing everything in the first night. I was streaming on Tuesday, and Razor's made a good point. You don't want to kill everything the first day, and I think
Blizzard don't. As an MMO, as a game that's perpetually there and perpetually evolving, you do not want your customer base of several million players to clear all the content on day one. It's why Mythics open a week later after Heroics, because it's time gating the content. It's why some bosses have an artificial difficulty, because especially in the end of raid bosses, they make them exuberantly difficult because they know this content has to last. And yeah, sure, they'll make nerfs on the thing if they think it's too hard or it's not doing as they think it should be doing. They'll absolutely nerf content as they see fit. And that's Blizzard's prerogative on how they do things. But on an equal side of the fence, the game also has to be fun enough to keep your players subscribed in this matter, or to keep playing. And there's a big difference between having a subscription model game where your people are paying you to play the game and having a free-to-play game. Because if you have a free-to-play game, you don't feel necessary to have to log in to finish a bit of content because you're not paying for the game and you don't have to. But if you're paying for the game, you want to do what you want to do in the game at the time. So a lot of the time, some people this is where the big essence debate is. A lot of people think because with account-wide essences, they would spend more time on alts. And as I can tell you, if my Death Knight with a Heart of Azeroth level at 35 when I started had this access to the same essences that my main character that I've done all the time with, I feel like it would have the ability to have the same power once I'd got the heart up and the item levels, because the item level of the neck improves the power of the essences that's in it rather than the stats. And I would feel like if I put the time in, I'd feel more inclined to work on the Heart of Azeroth if I had the essences.
I was talking with somebody about who does rating about this, and we came up with an interesting compromise. What if you earned a pool of essences? So like you're on your tank DPS character, and they earn DPS because they made a good point that your healer shouldn't know all of your DPS stuff, but like you can earn on a healer, and then once you've unlocked it, then it's for all the things. So
are you kind of using the idea of the old legendary system in Legion, whereas everything you had a chance to unlock what was available for your spec first, and then class after you'd done everything for your spec?
Kinda, and that you put it into a bucket, and that you can unlock, and once you unlock these, so you have to go on a healer or be in a healer spec to unlock the essences.
I feel so. I've got 2 problems with obviously the essence system. One of them being if you earn a higher rank you can't use it until you've got the lower rank.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you earn a higher rank before you do anything to get the lower rank, then the higher rank should just unlock everything further. Like if you finish a video game on the hardest difficulty, you get all the achievements for finishing it on lower difficulties. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a thing.
I mean, in dungeons, we already get if you complete a dungeon on a higher difficulty, you already get it for that.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of the problem. I also feel like the artificial grind to earn some of these things is a little bit extravagant. And yeah, they've reined them in a little bit. But it feels like it's a little bit too much in some cases. Those are my big problems. Other than, like, taking off the account-wide essences things, and it's just too much to get. Like, for an example, like, we'll take the 3 new essences that are available. 4 essences. So one of them you get for doing a horrific vision. One of them you get, and then 2 of them are bound by rep, and then one of them are raid drops and everything else. And it just feels like it's a little bit too much at times for what you're actually needed to do everything to do it. Because some people haven't got the willpower to log in and do assault dailies and find the hidden... what's the best word for it? And they don't have the time to spend time and find all the hidden little world... I'm going to say world quests, but I mean events and everything else that give you like 50 extra rep. But people don't have the time to do that. People have a limited time to log on, to do what they want to do. And again, this rolls back round to paying for a game and having the free time to just do a game. You know?
Yeah.
So, because I pay for the game and because I raid at a heroic level, there's a small part of me that feels like I need to have stuff at a specific level to be able to do that job effectively when it comes to raiding. So I feel like I need to get the cloak as well as I can do. So that's why I have rank 6 cloak on my demon hunter. It's
so
why
you wouldn't unsubscribe if you had account-wide essences because you wouldn't feel like there was nothing to do.
No, if I had account-wide essences, I'd feel more inclined to get the Azerite on my alts. Like, I really enjoyed playing my Death Knight yesterday because all it took me was a couple of hours to get the cloak done, and you know, I put the time in and I was really enjoying it. I'm not the best at playing it. I'm not the best at playing Demon Hunter, but Demon Hunter's been my main for half the expansion. I've just played Death Knight for a day at 120, but I put the time in. I did, and I got the Heart of Azeroth from like 35 to 62 just yesterday. Basically because all the main quest lines give you like 1,500 a go and you get like a level and a half on it. And it's just extravagant. But if I had account-wide essences and I had everything on that character that was available to my Demon Hunter, which is rank 3 in pretty much everything except the new essences, then I'd feel like I was doing... Not that I would ever take that character rated, but if I felt like I needed to step... like if I went and did a horrific vision on my Death Knight, I wouldn't feel like I'm not doing as much as my friend who may have gone and spent their time doing something else, you know, and having the essence which makes their character better.
Yeah,
it's really odd because I'm in favour of account-wide essences because I've put the time in on my main character to get all of them, and I'm not against the idea of having it. I think there's a lot that Blizzard could do to make the alt experience better.
Yeah, and I'm 100% with you on that. That what keeps coming to mind is that some of this stuff is being in the idea that they feel people are going to leave, they don't have enough content to do, but we're all kind of saying, no, we have content we want to do, but we don't have the time right now to put it in, and Blizzard doesn't want people to unsubscribe, but we're kind of saying that we want more to do. We want more to do, but we don't have the time to get our characters ready to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it would help out anybody that's on bleeding edge content for sure, because if you look at Mythic Raiders, and we try to here on this cast, we try to look at it from the benefit of all players, like from the Mythic at the top all the way to people who are new to the game or people that don't have a lot of time to put into the game but play the game because they've played it for so long. So if you look at the Mythic Raiders, they'll have characters at they'll have characters for everything they need. You know, some people have 12 mages at the same gear level, but with the way the last two expansions have worked, they had to grind out so much artifact power, Azerite power, and everything else. And this expansion has brought Azerite power and essences. So to use those other characters in a Mythic raiding environment, they've had to keep their Heart of Azeroth capped out at the right Azerite level. They had to make sure that their gear is at a substantial level to be on par with their main character. And then they've also had to make sure that they've had to go and grind essences on alts to stay ahead. Now, if you put an account-wide system in, it takes away the essences. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It takes essences out of that equation. I'm not saying ditch... I am saying ditch the Azerite system because it's crap. It's so bad. It's so bad because it forces you to play if you want to stay on top of the game.
Yeah.
It's literally insane. And I don't like it for the fact that the Warcraft is moving more into the way a mobile game works, where you have to log in to do certain things every day, and it's been headed this way since they've initiated World Quest, and I saw it coming then because I like mobile games, but mobile games are there specifically when I have time to do it, whereas World of Warcraft is a game that I log on to play and I do the things I want to do.
And we don't have it mobile. I mean, because for me to play well, I have to be at a computer, and I don't have. I've got a MacBook that I don't play it on when I'm on the go. I mean, it's because I'm not comfortable to play it on the go. Yeah, I can definitely, because Essence is a system that
Blizzard have said it
get
themselves.
the upgrades.
Blizzard have said it themselves in a recent interview that they feel like essences are player power. And this is the whole reason for that. Is the whole reason that they don't want to make account-wide essences is because they don't want to give. They feel like you need to put the time investment in to get power on another class.
Which is
they don't want to give free player power away to alls, which is ridiculous if you think about it. Because if I've earned it, then I should be able to have it. Even if they want to turn around and go, well, we can't give you... You can only have 8.2 essences if you can hit... Because you'll need to be level... like, say you've got to hit level 70 on your Heart of Azeroth, and that way you get all of your 8.2 essences, because that was the cap at the end of 8.2, is to hit level 70 on the Heart of Azeroth. If you did that, you got any of your 8.2 essences you already had unlocked. Now... Same could be for 8.3. If you hit 80 on the heart on your alts, then you'll get anything that you've got account-wide. We shouldn't be punished for wanting to play other characters on our account.
I think there's two things that have come to mind. The first is, many times Blizzard has said they want each player to feel different, and that's why we don't have account-wide weps. That's why we don't have the account-wide essences. I mean, getting account-wide honor to me was a huge win for Altaholics, and I'm championing the account-wide essences, but and then Melissa brings up a point that I can still see that this is a financial decision as well, because that if people have these account-wide essences, then people won't play as much.
It's 100% a monetary decision.
Yeah,
but people still have to play to unlock. Like I'll give you a math thing here, Frazley. If you were to go to Uldum and the Vale every day, you finished every daily and quest that was available to you. You did that every day. When do you think you'd hit Exalted with Rajani and the Uldum rep?
5,000. Leo Wild said about 5,000. I'm going on the math that I used.
It's 3,000 plus 5,000, so 8,000 plus 12,000, so 20k, plus another 21k. So 41,000 reputation to go from neutral to exalted.
Let me pull up. Okay. Divided by
And the math
8 weeks.
7 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. And I thank Leo out for that because he's the one who helped me. He encouraged me to do the Voldenai rep. That's I'm working on Voldenai right now. Well, and why else do we think that Blizzard released another mount for 6 months? I paid for another 6 months for the mount. I'm not yelling at it, but I mean this unsub fear is one reason why I think they released it.
You've got to remember that they've done this all the way back in Wrath. Like, you have to remember, Tyrael's Charger was the very first, if you sub for 6 months to a year, like, it was a 12-month thing, and you'll get Tyrael's Charger. Because they wanted to lock you in at the end of Wrath until Cataclysm came out. And that was it. And they've been doing the 6-month thing. Now, I hate it under the premise that it's a unique mount that's not in the game.
Yeah, it's in the store, but yeah, I am with you.
Reason, it's the biggest reason I hate it. It's a game I already pay for, and there's microtransactions. I get it. Blizzard have to make money. It's a monetary decision. You want to keep your players locked in. You know, some people don't have the money, and that's why they've put it in the store separately. You know, so people who, if they do have £20 worth of disposable currency or however much that equates to over in dollars, I'm sure you can tell me, Frazley, if someone's to buy it straight from the store.
It's $25 US to buy from the
$25. There you go. So $25 or £19. So the option's there, and then there's the option if you're paying. Some people pay a 6-month sub. That's fine.
Which is, you know the great thing about that? If you buy the 6-month sub, you're actually paying Blizzard less money. They're giving you a $25 amount, and you're paying less money. Whereas if you sub month to month for 6 months, you're paying them more, and they don't get it. I mean, that's where I think Blizzard should move to a loyalty system that however long you're subscribed to the game, you can get this stuff. Even at a discount.
They did that, though. You've got to remember.
They did?
Yes.
Okay.
So, originally, if you were a player that was... They did it for the 10th anniversary of World of Warcraft. If you had been subbed since the very beginning of the game and hadn't lost your sub once, you got the little orc on the wolf statue. If you didn't lose your sub and you were subbed from the beginning of the game, they sent them out for the 10-year anniversary.
But I see why they stopped doing that because of the physical cost.
Well,
I'm not even talking about
they stopped it because there were people that have been playing the game since Cataclysm who would never ever have that piece of merch, and it's the same reasoning as to Blizzard. Blizzard want everybody to see the content in the game. Blizzard want everything that's Blizzard stuff to be accessible to everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, just Final Fantasy 14 does it. Sea of Heroes does it. If you make this the Squeaker's Pet to say, after your sub for 6 years or however long, you will get this mount. You will eventually see it. I mean, that's where Kappa has been subbed since February 2005, and they're month to month, but they've been subbed and they're not getting this mount. That's 6 months that they're going to give Blizzard, and Blizzard's not giving it.
I get it. No, I get what you're saying. I absolutely get it. But again, a lot of people. It's the same thing with the recruiter friend system as well. Remember how when they first put that in, they turned around originally and said they have to pay for 12 months concurrently, and they can't just buy a year's sub up front. That was the original thinking, and then they backtracked on that because of the way that people reacted, and they knew that they would get people who, because it's so hard to get a friend into a game that's been out for 15 years. So they knew that people would straight up just buy a year's sub under a recruit a friend system just to get those rewards, and they allowed it. Originally, you weren't going to be able to do that.
Because on the old refer friend system, I referred myself quite a few times, and
same.
I have a few months that
because all I had to do was refer myself, make a new email, make an account, and just pay for a month, which cost nothing.
You technically are paid for game time that you'll never get, and I had to buy the base game.
Well, no, you got that back because part of the rewards were that you got an extra month of free time.
But you had to pay for 3 months to get the
something
2 or
like
3
that.
months.
Something crazy
Yeah.
like that.
So
But it-
you still lost game time that you paid for, but then you get the stuff.
Yeah.
And
But you got to remember that design also came in at a point where somebody had to pay £20 for the base version of the game, and it wasn't free until level 20. Because now
yeah,
you can just refer a friend, they get the starter kit, which is everything, and free until level 20, and then they can just buy a month. That's why they've changed the recruit a friend system, because the way the game has changed and how it's accessible to people now.
yeah.
I get what you're saying, but Blizzard haven't thought about this. You've got to remember, every time we refer something to Final Fantasy, and I use Final Fantasy as the example rather than City of Heroes, like you said, because Final Fantasy is a Japanese dev's way of thinking.
And this is an American.
And this is the Western way. Yeah, there's two
Western
very
way,
different.
yeah.
There's two very, very solid different ways to how you're thinking. Now, I'm not saying they can't turn around and make a loyalty system, and then they could bring back with all of those recruiter friend mounts and stick them on that loyalty system. But they'd have to start it from now. If they implemented it tomorrow, they'd have to start a loyalty system from tomorrow.
Why not retroactively?
Because you can't all it takes is one person to forget a specific month that they didn't have money in their account to sub, and they say, I've played this, I can backtrack on my thing, and I can show you that I originally started my account back in 2005. I want my stuff.
But it doesn't. I'm not talking about a streak of stuff. I'm talking about just like, because I'm talking about like overall, however long you've subbed. Because I have years that are gone from my account.
We all have. But
yeah,
the way they'll turn around and go, but all those memories you've had for the last 15 years, Mr. Frazley. But I was not subbed for 15 years. Well, there you go. So you're saying, where was your loyalty in those years you weren't subbed?
They would actually ask that, because I would say that I have.
It's a question. It's a question anybody could ask. The biggest thing that you're bringing up from this is it's a loyalty system. If you weren't subbed for 15 years, where is your loyalty gone?
It went away for a little bit. I admit it, but it's back. I'm only looking for how much have I paid Blizzard on loyalty.
Do you see what I'm saying? You can't use the term loyalty system and be like, oh, but my loyalty waned, and I went over to Eorzea, and my loyalty was there for a few months.
And Tamriel, I went to Tamriel for a few months. Well, okay. How about a veteran system? That how long you've been a part of the game, and I mean, even if you leave, I don't think it should ever be consecutive. I just think it should be like, I don't think it should be a streak of how long you've been, but just that.
I get what you're saying. You would have so many, like, you have a bar to fill. Exactly. Yeah. A reputation bar, and every time you're subbed for a month, you get a point on that bar, and when it fills up to a certain amount of points, you get a reward.
And that way, if I have a month where I don't really want to play WoW, I myself can't say that because I'm doing content for WoW. But if I was a player who wasn't making content, I could still just pay that $15 a month, knowing that it's going to earn me a reward in the future, and that would, I think, fix some of the issues that we're talking about with like the essences, with the rep, because I do think Blizzard's afraid of people leaving, because there are so many games out there. There's so many MMOs out there. I mean, Amazon's coming out with a new MMO soon. I mean,
when you speak about all the MMOs out there, you have to remember that when it comes to the MMO market, the only thing that's ever made any sizable dent in World of Warcraft is Final Fantasy 14. Like, you got to think that Blizzard must feel so cocky because they turn around and go, everything's come out, been touted as a WoW killer, but like, not even Final Fantasy's killed us. We still have 2 to 3 million concurrent players at any given time, paying players.
And okay, I can say that, where in a way they don't have to change. They can kind of do what they want. Yeah.
The only way to change anything when it comes to this sort of thing is with a player's wallet. If players left en masse because of a decision, then they'd have to look at how they can change. It's the reason that you see that Star Wars went free to play and instigated microtransactions. It's the reason that Lord of the Rings Online went free to play, instigated microtransactions. It's the reason I believe it's like Elder Scrolls Online is free to play, but it's got microtransactions because they don't have enough players working at a substantial subscription rate. And the reason that these games still work very well when they go free to play is because it's a lot easier for someone to play, and if they have spare money at the time, they'll put money into the game. You know?
Then why is Blizzard doing these 6-month?
Because it's a monetary option for them.
Okay.
You got to remember, like, even when they're essentially releasing these mounts every 6 months, because they've done the ship, they've done the pig for the other one, and everything else, and A, it's rewarding the people that give them 6 months worth of money, but B, they put them into the store because people who can't afford to do 6 months of money upright, they still have the option of buying the pet. You know, because people are free to do with their money what they choose to do, and this is what everyone else doesn't understand. You know, people will talk rubbish about other people who play mobile games, and they're like, "Why do you play a mobile game when you've got a PC, you've got a video games console? Those are where the true gamers are." You know, you get people that turn around and go, "Why are you paying to play World of Warcraft when such and such free MMO exists?" And people don't understand that people are free to do with their money what they choose to do. So if people want to pay a subscription to play a video game, if people want to buy a £60 video game every week, that's up to them. If they can afford it and they're not putting themselves in any monetary problems or anything else, who cares? Why should anybody else care how you spend your money? But Blizzard puts this in because they know that people have played the game for 10 to 15 years. And those are the kinds of people that this will attract. The people that have played the game and they're not going to play something else because their life is this game. Like, how many people can you turn around and say, like, probably quite a few people who you podcast with, or you know through podcasting, through WoW and everything else, look at half of those people that have show numbers in the excess of 400s that make video content on YouTube. These people have played the game for years. These people are going to be playing the game because while it's quote unquote their job, especially for the content creators and the influencers, they're paying this anyway. Which is why you turn around and hear them say, "Oh yeah, I've already got the mount. I logged in. It was there." Because they're already paying for the game for that long, because it's their job to do. They play the game because they enjoy it, and they've played it for so long that they feel like they're invested in the game because their characters are there. So they pay it and they get a reward out of it. And Blizzard, you can look at it from two different ways. You can look at it as Blizzard's being greedy to go and stick out and force people to buy a 6-month sub to get it. But then the option is still there to buy the pet without the 6-month sub.
Yeah.
And you'll generally find that stuff like the Dreadwake, stuff like the pig, stuff like the dog, stuff like the mouse, all these sort of things are done by designers in their free time between things to do. And then because of it's the same thing as if you work at any sort of creative job. You sign a contract that says anything you create under your time or you're employed for us is owned by us. And you'll generally find that people at Blizzard have to do the same. Anyone in video games design, I believe, has to sign a contract which says anything that you create while you work for us it belongs to us.
All your models belong to us.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and they see stuff like this, and obviously they've gone, "Oh yeah, the year of the pig. This will work well with the Chinese New Year, year of the rat, and everything else, year of the mouse." And yeah, they'll absolutely get it to tie in with it, and they'll release that and everything else. And I just wouldn't worry about it, honestly. Yeah, people, you are gonna get people that are going to flip the switch on this and go, Blizzard are being greedy, trying to force people to buy a 6-month sub with the lure of a mount because they know that the game has got mount collectors. But the mount exists there for people who don't have a 6-month sub. What's the point?
Yeah, and and I know I'm a bad one to do the devil's advocate, because the second it came out, I found the
Because you pay a 6-month sub because
Yeah.
you play the game and you enjoy
Yeah.
playing the game. I don't pay a 6-month sub. I don't think I've bought a single mount in the game since the Fey Dragon. Like, I have the Alabaster mounts because I've got the 15th anniversary kit, but that's a personal preference. I want that in my collection, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I've collected the physical collector's edition since Wrath of the Lich King, because that's when I got really invested in the game. You know, I don't buy a lot of the in-game stuff, but I have a lot of the physical stuff outside of the game. Like, I have all of the books, I have a lot of the lore stuff, I've got a lot of figures, you know. I buy the cheap tacky stuff, like the Funko stuff, because at the end of the day, I enjoy... Well, there you go, you've got that as well, you know. We buy things with our own money because we've got the availability to do so. If Blizzard are going to offer it, they offer it to everybody, whether it's for a 6-month sub or whether it's just loosely in the store. You're free to do with your money what you choose to do. If people think that they dislike this level of capitalism, then they're free to unsub or not to buy it. But a lot of these people that complain are either paying a 6-month sub and have it anyway because it's just in their box. They'll buy it anyway and complain, or they'll buy it anyway and they won't say a thing. But then you got people that raise whole pitchforks and go, another store mount to buy from the shop. And I guarantee you, most of these people are paying long subs and they have it anyway.
And the only reason I was bringing this stuff up was I wanted to try to bring up different perspective on it, because it does seem weird that they want people to stay in the game, but then they're doing this stuff, and that's where I think it seems like you have conflicting ideas at Blizzard on how to keep people playing the game.
Here's the thing, and we're going to sidestep away from Warcraft because it's not the best way I can make an analogy out of this without making somebody be the bad guy off of this. Take any indie game, a game that's not touched by any major corporation, that's released under their own power and everything else. We'll take Slay the Spire as an example. I love Slay the Spire. You know, it's cheap, they do free updates every week or two and everything else, but they do what they want to because they're not owned by anybody else. When you become a limited company, you then have anyone that is like a shareholder in your business to answer to. And if you don't make money, you lose a shareholder, which means you lose money incoming into your system. So they have to keep coming up with ways to get more money injected. You know, and they've got a pool of 2 to 3 million players to play on, you know?
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
yeah, I agree with Kappa overall. It is a never-ending battle.
It is a never-ending battle. This conversation will come up every 6 months when they announce a store mount.
Yeah.
Every 6 months. And it'll happen.
And even as much as I, in this episode, play the Devil's Advocate, I'm going to be one that's going to...
I like how we've gone from 8.3 to account-wide essences again, back to this.
Yes.
It's always an interesting conversation.
It's how... It's the old gods messing with our minds, trying to get us to be against Blizzard.
What you're saying is old gods are capitalism.
Exactly! See? We need to take down capitalism. Oh, wait, no. That's a whole different issue.
That's a whole different issue, yes. You're not wrong. Yeah. So what are you looking to do with the rest of 8.3 in the next week? In the next week before we're back and recording again.
I'm going to definitely go on the Mechanome because I am enjoying that. I'll do some horrific visions. I may not do the dailies as often.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the place right now where I always enjoy leveling a character, and there's a point where it gets unfun, and that's where I might put it on the shelf for a little bit, and I'm going to enjoy when Shadowlands revamps leveling. But right now it's kind of fun. I'm going as a Spire Mage, so that's kind of, I may be back here and I'll be maybe like.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
The only daily I suggest you do every day is the Lesser Vision one. The only other time I would suggest you go and do any of the other dailies is when the assaults are on, and you've got a free box to get. Because
and how do you know when the assaults are on?
So you can go to your world map and you hover over the eye, and it'll tell you that there will be how long's left on the assault, and it will let you know if there's a box you can get. Once you get that box, that cash, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
Because you can work out that doing one of those dailies that gets you 50 coalescing visions, like for each one, is like, if you do every single one of those every single day, you'll get an extra vision every 8 months. I'd say the lesser visions, and like unless those essences are really what you need and you need the rep, I'd only really worry. Like, it's the same way that you do your emissaries whenever they're up. You know, just treat them as emissaries, and whenever there's a box to get from it, just get the box. But I would always make sure you do the lesser vision, because it gives you 1,000 coalescing visions every day, or 2,000 for the first one you do in a given week. Because I guarantee you that will cut down the time that you have to worry about spending time on that. Because you can crack out the lesser vision daily in like 5 minutes. You don't have to spend that much time in there. You go in there, you can get it done in 5 minutes, you can get back out. The assaults, if you aim for the box, 15, 30 minutes, depending on how well you're geared or if you've got a group for it. But if you do, I guarantee you, Fraz, you being you, if you turned on your stream and says, I'm doing an assault, you'll probably have people like Capo, Raz. Half of your stream will probably go, yeah, I'll jump on. I'll group up with you and I'll do it. You know, your community is pretty good for that sort of thing. And I guarantee you that they'll help you out if you turn around and go, yeah, I'll do it. But I guarantee you'll spend a lot less time worrying about it. You'll get a decent chunk of rep when you finish your box, because they'll count as emissaries. And you won't worry about it so much.
And you said, do you know which one's lesser is the one that...
The lesser vision is the daily quest that's up wherever an Azeroth assault is.
Okay.
So, for example, it'll be in the Vale. It's down by the Alliance side. It's a little fucking... didn't mean to swear. It's a little doodad thing where you go and talk to a Rathian agent and he'll give you a daily.
Okay.
Literally
I can do that. Hey, 5 minutes. Now, I say that now, and then I'm going to have a short memory and be like, oh, wait, what was I supposed to do?
I know you were writing it down what I was suggesting. I know you were. Because that's what you do. But yes, I'm probably, if time allows, I'll probably see if I can get any more cloaks. As I said, I've got it on my Death Knight and everything else. It was fun. I think doing the main quest line is a good way to gear a character to 410. If you've got a character below 410 item level, don't just wait on a main to do your stuff. Just spend a couple of hours if you've got a couple of hours spare and just get the cloak done. You won't regret it, because the cloak will just be a good upgrade just on its own, because it's 470 and it's got stats on it. You'll get 4 heroic vision pots, and I'm sure you'll have a friend that will want to do horrific vision somewhere that you can just group up with and just get it done.
I've already got one tonight that wants to do a heroic vision, and we're gonna go on islands, so kind of do. And thankfully, these islands are not a 3-hour tour.
No, they're not. But yeah, I'm going to probably try that. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay on top of my main and keep that done. I'm not going to... Yo.
We can group up, right?
Sorry?
We can group up, right?
Yeah, sure. Let me just... you see, like, on the video version of this, you're over on the Eastern Kingdoms and I'm over in Kalimdor. That's pretty much how far apart we are. Like, in real life. So, yeah. I should have really... If I actually thought about it in advance, I could have turned around and gone, Kalimdor is America. The Eastern Kingdoms are Europe.
Wait, are you calling us the... Wait, no. There are, Texas is definitely Barons. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Stories Around Azeroth this week. Thank you very much for joining us live. If you have, thank you to everybody in the live chat. Otherwise, if you are joining us on the video VOD... thank you very much for joining us over on YouTube, and if you're just listening to the podcast, as always, thank you very much for listening and everything else. Mr. Frazley, around the internet, if they're new to the cast and they don't know who you are or where they can find you, where can they do so?
You can find me on Twitter at Frazleytastic, every week for podcasting at gnomepodcast.com, and you can see me twitching and dancing to Barney at gnome.live.
Yes, you can. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at Titans Creed for my main account at Gaming Phoenix if you just want specifically gaming videos and the YouTube streams and everything else. Otherwise, you can find that over at youtube.com/Project Phoenix Productions. Otherwise, you can find me streaming every now and again which will probably be, the next stream will probably be Wednesday, because we'll be going into heroic Ny'alotha straight away on Wednesday night. So you can join me for that over at twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions as well. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a fun chat. It kind of steered off a little way. If you have joined us live or watching the video, there has been some new little toys that I've stuck into the actual cast itself. So do try and catch that if you can. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you for the next episode of Stories Around Azeroth next week. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frazley, what do you say?
Be awesome.
Be awesome indeed. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.